Welcome to Spot Growth, the podcast dedicated to pediatric speech, physical, and occupational therapists. We explore strategies, insight, and success stories to help you elevate your practice. Join us as we spot growth together.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Spot Growth Podcast. This is your host, Aaron Marshall with Extra Mile Billing. And I got a little bit of a cold earlier this week. So if you hear me just a little bit raspy, I apologize for that. On the mend now, but still a little bit recovering. So today I wanted to talk about a big thing, a huge thing that's going to go on here this year in Florida healthcare, specifically Medicaid and the CMS program. So if you have not been hiding under a rock, which most of you I hope haven't, you have probably heard that Florida recompeted their CMS contract this year or last year, and they surprised us all actually by awarding it to Molina Healthcare, which is a company that's been in Florida for a long time. But Sunshine and WellCare have had the contract for a number of years, actually. And I think the expectation by a lot of providers was that they would continue to have the contract. But Florida has awarded the next 5-year contract to Molina Healthcare. If you've been, in Florida for a number of years, you will probably have come across Molina Healthcare. Currently, their MMA plan is not available in all regions. I think they're probably only available down South Florida. But previously, they were available in a lot of regions, and they were a really good partner to work with. I can remember, their authorization process was very clear. They had a good portal for submitting them, and they were pretty timely on claims payments and fixing things. And they had good people, and they were good to work with. So when they kind of lost a lot of the regions, it was a little bit surprising. And then their Medicaid product is managed by Therapy Network of Florida now. So not a lot of folks accept Molina patients these days. But now that they're getting the CMS contract, oh wow, everybody's got to get ready and say, oh, am I still contracted? What are they going to pay? Are they going to pay 80%? Are they going to pay 100%? What's the authorization process? So there's lots of questions. Okay, there's lots of questions about the Molina transition, and I'm here to tell you, I had a conversation with the president of Molina Healthcare in Florida, a guy by the name of Bill Hillsdale, which Bill has a large operation to set up in a relatively short amount of time. Now they are a statewide organization, they are nationwide, so they do have a lot of resources to pull from, but they're still not getting all of the answers that they need from ACA. So, I had a lot of questions for him, like, what's the timeline look like? I've heard rumors that things were going to start in April. I've heard rumors that things were going to start in October. And the answer is, we will let you know as soon as we find out. So they actually don't even know the transition date yet. But in the meantime, they are making their best effort to reach out to providers and try and get them in network with Molina for the CMS line of business. And he said the way that they were doing that, and I mean, it seems like there should be a database, but it hasn't been shared with them. So they're going out and they're scraping the networks online of the current CMS providers, and they're doing web-based search, and they're reaching out to a lot of providers, and you may have already received a letter from them, but they're doing their best to reach out. Okay, so they're on the hunt. They're trying to bring in as many providers as possible because they want to keep their patients in care without gaps in coverage. So if you have not been reached out to yet, it is not because they don't want to. It's probably because they don't have your information. So I would encourage you then to go to molinahealthcare.com .com/providers/CMS. I'm going to put those links in the description of the podcast, so you can go take a look at it. But you should reach out. You should go to that portal, and you should reach out to your provider reps, and they will have it listed there. If you go to, looking at it right here, if you go to provider support under there or join the Molina network, there are ways to get in touch with them. There's an email there, cmsplan@molinahealthcare.com, and they'll get you a reference ID and they'll get you in the process. And the process is relatively painless. We walked through it with a couple of clients already, and they use CAQH just like a lot of the other health plans. So you got to have your CAQHs up to date, and make sure that that's ready to go. And then you upload a roster with all of the relevant details for your providers, and they begin that contracting process that credentialing process. So it's working. But if you have not heard from them yet, I would suggest that you go to molinahealthcare.com/providers/CMS to get in touch with them so that they know that you're interested. Because they may be trying to get in touch with you and they just don't know how. Maybe you moved, maybe changed addresses or something like that. So I would encourage you to do that. Again, I'll leave the links in the description so you can go touch base with them. But we had a lot of questions, and truthfully, they don't have start dates yet. Because they don't have start dates, they have not set up training sessions, but they will set up a training session for their portal, their authorization process, their claims process. They're going to do training sessions for providers, but as of right now, because they don't have a lot of detail, they're not able to give a lot of detail. So be patient with the process. This is how things work. Sometimes it's a massive program that they have to transition from one massive company to another massive company, and it's going to take time, and there may be delays, but just know, you can reach out to them. They are open to contracting and credentialing. And right now their focus is on this transition. So I had some questions about, authorizations and, would they be a little bit flexible with us for the first, 90 days, 120 days, things like that. He said, listen, I understand these are all valid questions, but we've got to get some specifics from ACA before we can then come back to you guys with more information. So, that's really kind of the bulk of it. I do want to have him on, and he is interested in coming on and just doing a podcast with us, just to kind of talk to the providers and let them know what kind of partner they're going to be, and relevant information that you guys might have questions on. So if you do have questions, and I know a lot of you have questions about this transition, I would encourage you to send us a message. Use the links in the description. Send me a note. Let me know what your questions are, and then I can begin to collect those questions and bring them back to him, so that when they do have answers, he can come on and begin to answer some of those questions for providers. So again, this is a Florida deal. I know for some of those listeners outside the state, this may not be as relevant to you, but it's always good to hear how transitions are going, just get an update on it and see where we are. So thanks for taking the time to listen, and we will bring you more updates as we have them. Have a great one, guys. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us this week on the Spot Growth Podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please leave us a review, and if you have any ideas for topics that you'd like to learn more about, please send those to the podcast link at extramilebilling.com.